We'll get more on our top story, and that's the announcement by the governments of Ireland, Norway, and Spain that they will recognize an independent Palestinian state beginning on the 28th of this month. So let's take a closer look at the road to Palestinian statehood. In 1988, the Palestine National Council declared its independence at a meeting in Algeria. That nation was the first to officially recognize an independent Palestinian state. Weeks later, dozens of countries, including much of the Arab world, most of Africa, Asia, and several Eastern European nations followed suit. The next wave of recognitions came in late 2010 and early 2011, when a host of South American states, including Argentina, Brazil, and Chile, recognized Palestine. Here with us in the studio is Gideon Levy, who's a columnist with the Haaretz newspaper. Welcome to Al Jazeera. This is not a really good week for Israel, is it? I mean, this announcement coming on the back of that announcement by the ICC seeking arrest warrants for the Prime Minister as well as his defense minister. And we've seen the furious reaction coming out of Israeli officials. What impact do you think it's going to have on Israel?
First of all, it's not a very good year for Israel. And maybe it is good, because maybe this bad year will teach Israel a lesson. I mean, I really hope that Israelis will start to look upon themselves and not to blame the whole world for what's going on. The notion right now in Israel is, as usual, that the whole world is against us, the whole world is anti-Semite, and let's get together, we, the victims of the world. I don't know how long it will last, because there must be cracks. Any Israeli should start to ask himself, where is my responsibility? How come that all this is happening? Is it really only the world's blame? Or maybe there were crimes of war in Gaza? Maybe our leaders should be brought to justice? It will be a long process, a very painful one, but maybe it will start.
But are these conversations being had in Israel? You're someone there who's, who keeps an eye out on the situation.
Not yet, and not at all. Maybe one day, not yet. The media, the Israeli media is contributing a lot for this denial. It's a fatal denial in my view, because Israeli society is living in denial, total denial, and the Israeli media, which is, in my view, the biggest collaborator with the occupation, with the apartheid, by hiding it, by not telling the full truth, especially in this war, is the main reason why the discourse in Israel is still a blame game against the world. Nothing. I mean, I would love to see one discussion, one debate in Israeli media in which the question will be raised, did we commit crimes of war in Gaza or not? This is even not asked.
Right. How do you see this move that was announced by the three European capitals as aiding or helping the creation of a Palestinian state? I mean, that's what they're saying their aim is. I was speaking to the Norwegian foreign minister saying, well, this is based on 1967 borders, and we want to see the creation of a state of Palestine. How do you see this move? Is it anything more than symbolic at this point?
It is only symbolic, obviously. I remember one settler saying once, when some other country recognized Palestine, I look through my window and I don't see any Palestinian state. The Palestinian state will not be created by recognition of the world. It will be established, if at all, by Israel pulling out of the occupied territories. That's the only way to create it, and I have my doubts if it's possible at all. But in any case, it has an impact, because we are witnessing now really a historical period. Things are changing now rapidly. You cannot take every phenomenon and ask, is it influential? Is this influential? You have the campuses in the United States. You have the international courts in The Hague. You have now the recognition of certain European countries, and I believe there will be more following them. Each of them is not enough, but all of them together might create a new reality in which the world will tell Israel, enough is enough, we don't take it anymore.
Is this pressuring Israel at all from what you see, or at least this Israeli government, and by extension, how much pressure do you think the United States is feeling with these steps that are being taken?
Both are feeling pressed, and both are not feeling pressed enough. For the United States, it's not enough because you see the American policy. They still arm Israel. They still live in peace. They were warning Israel not to enter Rafah. And here we are in Rafah with 48% of the houses already demolished, with daily fighting and bloodbath there, and the Americans do nothing. So it is still, but everything must be now judged on a period of time. Things
and
will
that
change.
period of time is what?
Is until the Israelis will understand, and it's a long process, that if Israel doesn't change its policy, Israel is going to lose the whole battle. Not only the military battle, but the battle over its status in the world. Israel is a pariah state now. Do Israelis really want to live in a pariah state? Do they really believe that it's only the world's blame because they turned into a pariah state? Israel was very beloved in Oslo years. Where was then anti-Semitism? Because Israel followed the international law. Israel followed the international institutions. Israel behaved itself.
That is an argument that's put forward many times by Israel, is it not? This accusation of anti-Semitism. We even heard it from officials towards the ICC when they made their announcement seeking warrants for the Israeli Prime Minister and the Defense Minister.
Yes, but for how long Israel will be able to claim this? That's the best weapon until now, because it paralyzes Europe. When Europe is blamed as anti-Semite, Europe gets totally paralyzed, even if it's not anti-Semite. This was the way to shut the mouth of all Israeli critics in Europe, because they were labeled as anti-Semites. It was a very efficient propaganda tool. But this cannot last forever. You cannot claim that everyone is an anti-Semite. You cannot claim that your best friend from yesterday are anti-Semites. They just want to see this war over, and they just want to see those who are responsible for this horrible war to be brought to justice. What is more fair and more just than this?
The reaction from the Israeli Foreign Ministry, Mr. Levy, came through, and it warned Ireland in particular that it risked becoming a pawn in the hands of Hamas, and this would fuel more terrorism, instability in the region, and jeopardize any prospects for peace. I mean, this is not surprising. Your thoughts on it?
It's always those pathetic reactions. Israel is also attacking now the PA for taking one-sided steps. I mean, Israel is ignoring the whole world in taking one-sided steps, and then when the world reacts on it in certain steps, Israel is blaming the world. I think that Israel will understand that it cannot go on like this with ignoring. Israel in the last 8 months totally ignored the international community, as if it doesn't exist. Not the international law, not the institutions, not the advisors of its best friends. This must be over. So in the beginning, Israel will blame Ireland, and Israel will blame Spain, and Israel will blame Norway. But when it will become a world phenomena, Israel will have to ask itself, where does it lead to? And all those blames are ridiculous, because to recognize now a Palestinian state is an act of peace, not an act of war. What's wrong in recognizing the right of the Palestinians for a state? What is anti-Semite about it? What is more just than this?
What do you make of the particular timing of it? I mean, obviously this genocide in Gaza is unfolding. Is there something to be said about the timing, and is it coming too little too late?
First of all, it's too little too late, but it's better now than never. And it has all to do. After the 7th of October, with all the atrocities of the 7th of October, came this war, and this war went out of control, became this wild war, and then the world starts to wake up. And in this way, this might be maybe the only achievement of this war, that it will give the world a wake-up call, that it must intervene, because if the world will not intervene, nothing will change.
Okay, Gideon Levy, thank you so much for your time
and
for analysis.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.